It's time for the hate week preview. Saints versus Falcons, NFL week 4. Falcons are favored at home at -2.5. I'll be at the game. Michael Darby in the comments on YouTube will be at the game as well. We won't be at the game together, but we both will be going. It is absolutely going to excuse me, it is absolutely going to be a showdown in Atlanta. Again, Falcons are favored by 2.5 points. The Saints are coming off a slew of injuries. They just got knocked back down to earth by the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Falcons, the Falcons are a little odd right now, I will say. Because when you look at the games they've played and you look at how their offense hasn't really unlocked itself yet, but the defense is really, really being stingy. And with the Falcons being 1-2, as much as I hate to say this as a Saints fan, they could easily be 3-0. The Saints should be 3-0, but after Eric McCoy going out and we don't have Cesar Ruiz in this game, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be, yes, FTF all day, bro. It's going to be extremely difficult to try to mask these offensive line deficiencies, mask some of these injuries. And let's just go ahead and get into the game prediction as the Saints injuries are piling up. No Cesar Ruiz, no Demario Davis. Let me give a shout out to the 5-time All-Pro Demario Davis, who was signed as an undrafted free agent, or excuse me, a free agent when the Saints picked him up years ago. In his 13-year career, he has more Pro Bowls than missed games. Excuse me, he has more All-Pros, first-team All-Pros than missed games. Demario's missed 2 games in his career. The second game missed will be this Sunday. The last game that Demario missed was during COVID because of the protocol. One of the most durable players in the NFL and by far the most durable player on the roster. We know Eric McCoy's out. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. That's very tough. He's having groin surgery. Couldn't be a worse strike for the Saints. Again, I talked about Eric McCoy being number 1 in the league for PFF rating as offensive lineman. He was the best center in the NFL through 2 weeks, and his sidekick Lucas Patrick as well was in that same spot. But it's going to be so hard for the Saints to stay away from some of the tendencies that they had in the Eagles game due to the injuries. And the play calling just has to be better as well. We see that Chris Olave's day-to-day with a hamstring. Alvin Kamara is questionable. Chris Olave being questionable as well. So the Saints are in mid-season form. The Saints are in week 11, week 12, I guess you could say week 7 or week 8 form. And I just want to ask a question, genuinely. Darby, you know you and I talked about this. What is going on with the New Orleans Saints conditioning? This is the 5th straight year we have been decimated by injuries early on. Is the strength and conditioning coach just not registering between the ears for the guys? Or are they not taking the proper therapy or the proper post-game routines after you go through 25 car crashes on an NFL Sunday? I don't understand. I don't. And it's so frustrating to see how elite we are when we are healthy. And the moment that the wheels start to fall off the bus, we look average. We look average when the wheels start to fall off the bus because of injuries. What is the O-line going to do to adjust? That is a major question. David Bakhtiari and Donovan Smith are available. Now, I understand those are free agents. I understand that they might not be the most solid pickups right now for the NFL or in the NFL. I thought David Bakhtiari was actually going to sign with the Bears, but it turns out he hasn't yet. I believe that was just a rumor. Donovan Smith, who used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, is also available. And you got to respect the Saints for responding to the offensive line injuries. They literally hosted an entirely new offensive line on tryouts this week. The center, Brian Allen. Do y'all remember Brian Allen for the Los Angeles Rams? I really feel like Brian Allen should be a priority signing. Brian Allen, David Bakhtiari, and Donovan Smith should be on the Saints' radar. I would probably prefer Brian Allen over all of them. I know Bakhtiari was dealing with some of those injuries. You got the tackle Gottlieb Ayedze, the tackle Andrew Coker, guard Chris Reed, and guard Josh Sills. So they're literally working out an entirely new offensive line, which I respect them for, because when you have Trevor Penning and Oli Udoh and Lucas Patrick playing center, and you're losing Ruiz, you're losing McCoy, you lost Ramczyk for probably most of the year. This was the biggest question mark walking into the New Orleans Saints season, and they are faced with it tenfold in week 4 against their biggest rivals on the road after taking the loss at home to the Eagles. So it's going to be a tough game for the Saints. Nobody's saying that it's not going to be. And if the offensive line can't get it together, the offense won't be able to come back to life. They won't be able to. I understand Kubiak and Carr did the best they could last week when your center goes out. Again, if you don't know, your center is literally the quarterback of your offensive line. So when they go out, it's very, very tough for teams to get their bearings. It just is. That guy probably knows the most out of everyone on the O-line. And when he goes down on the third play of the game, your entire game plan changes because you move a guy in Lucas Patrick over to center who really isn't a center, but he was your best O-lineman, so you're not going to throw Oli Udoh in there or Trevor Penning after you've already mishandled him. So Lucas Patrick was the only solution. I really hope Kubiak can bring the offense back to life, but if there's no Chris Olave, if there's no Alvin Kamara, there's already no A.T. Perry, Cedric Wilson is questionable. It's going to be the Rashid Shaheed and Bub Means show and the Jamal Williams show because Kendre Miller hasn't even come back from. Kendre Miller, I think, is going to start practicing on Wednesday. We're finally going to see Kendre Miller back, which Kendre is a solid guy, but he can never stay healthy. And that's the issue. And if the offense doesn't come back to life, because Atlanta's not going to make it easy. They're giving up 17.6 points per game, 18 for conversation's sake. They are scoring and giving up the exact same amount of points on average on the season. So Atlanta's not going to make it simple. You know the crowd's going to be in that game. So you got to come off with some explosive plays. You know Atlanta's going to be loud. They're going to be stingy on defense. They have Justin Simmons. They have Jesse Bates, arguably the best safety tandem in the NFL next to the Ravens with Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton. Derek Carr is going to have to make better reads. We're going to have to get more creative with pre-snap motion. We're going to have to get more creative with everything. Play action, letting Derek Carr set his feet, protecting the pass rush from the Matthew Judons and the Grady Jarretts and the David Onyematas. It looks like Grady Jarrett and David Onyemata actually might not be in this game. The Falcons are kind of dealing with their own injuries as well. But a bigger question is, will we be able to stop Bijan Robinson? Because Saquon Barkley, the way he just ran through the Saints O-line, boy, if I watch another 8.6 yards per carry game at over 15 yards a carry, 15 carries on the game, I might have an aneurysm, honestly. Because you just think back to the Saints' years of not allowing a 100-yard rusher. And then the last team to bust us out of that was when Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders did it. And the Saints haven't been the greatest against the run since those years. We know that. But when you let Jalen Hurts throw on you for 312, Dallas Goedert lace you up for 170 on a career day, and you make Saquon Barkley look like that former number 4 overall pick out of Penn State who's got that 4.25 speed going down the field when he's in the open field, that's hard. The defense has to step up, and Bijan Robinson gives me kind of that similar vibe. Bijan is literally a younger Saquon. Now, I know he was a little limited in practice, but I sat in the stands in Atlanta last year when Derek Carr threw the pick 6 to Jesse Bates, and I turned around and watched Desmond freaking Ridder throw a wheel route to Bijan Robinson. I also watched Bijan Robinson kind of eat us up on the ground as well. So Bijan's going to be a major part of this game that the Saints cannot let get away from them because you know the Falcons are going to come out. They're going to pound the football. It's going to be Bijan, little Tyler Algier, Bijan. You know they are. They know in a rivalry week, they have watched the tape, and they're going to run the hell out of the ball against the Saints. I might eat crow for saying this, but I'm not afraid of Atlanta's offense just yet. I'm not. They have amazing talent, but they're only averaging 18 points per game. And they've got some injuries as well. I understand the likes of the Kyle Pitts and the Drake Londons and the Bijan Robinson like we just talked about, but we still see that Kirk Cousins is getting comfortable. Caleb McGarry and Drew Dahlman, they're up in the air. They went out in the last game. So they're dealing with their own center and offensive line injuries as well. So will they be able to run the ball effectively? Will the offense be able to click like we saw the Saints click in the first 2 weeks when all of their offensive line was together? I'm not afraid of Atlanta's offense yet. Now I know they're going to come out and run a lot of the same things that Philly just did. Hell, they might come out and make it the Kyle Pitts show. Hell, if Dallas Goedert could just do that with no Devontae Smith and no AJ Brown, why can't we with a number 4 overall pick in Kyle Pitts? That we continue to diminish in this offense, and he's only had 5 targets on the whole year. I mean, what are we doing? I don't know if that 5 targets thing is correct, but I remember talking about it in recent shows that I'm last show actually on Tuesday. I'm just waiting for the Falcons to use Kyle Pitts more effectively. So again, I'm not afraid of Atlanta's offense just yet. Score prediction for the game: if Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave don't play, I think the Falcons win this one close and ugly. Hate to say it, but if it's the Bub Means Rashid Shaheed show with a little bit of Jamal Williams and whoever the hell the third string running back is, Darby, if you're still in the comments, maybe you could help me out. I got the Falcons winning 20-17 if Kamara and Olave don't play. If Kamara and Olave do play, I think the Saints will win 24-20. Feels a little generous on the 24 points for the Saints, but hopefully they can prove me. Hopefully they can prove me wrong. Shaheed season, they're going to be loud with their crowd noise. 100%, bro. That stadium is going to be on fire. It's going to be absolutely on fire, and I can't wait for us to be able to witness it, man.